You thought you'd never see me again, didn't you? Well, too bad. I'm alive.
So, let's start this shit off with a story. One day, me and my brother walked into GameStop, and I peeped that there was a sale going on. And you know what? I had a couple of dollars I could burn that day. So I figured, let me go get something. And there it was. The critically acclaimed, award-winning game Deathloop was a part of the sale. So I was like, you know what? Man, I've been hearing good shit about this game. Let me go see what's up. But damn, that shit was some mid, bro. Like, I ain't never felt more cheated out of money than I felt when I beat this game. Like, yo, I want a full-ass refund. Like, yo, I felt like I've been hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray, run amok, and flat out deceived by the developers of the game.
I just dropped myself. What kind of fucked up world is this? What it do, baby?
Yeah, you already know.
Now, I know we've all heard about this game. Before it was even out, it felt like every time you turned around, there was an ad being shoved in your face for it. But for the few people that haven't heard about it, don't worry, I got you. Deathloop is a game that was published by Bethesda and developed by Arcane Studios, a French video game developer that is best known for his work on the Dishonored series. At least that's what the Wikipedia says. Now, let me be honest for a second. I've had very little experience with the Dishonored games before. I mean, like, very little. Like, the only bit I played of the series was when I borrowed it from a friend and I gave it back a week later because I thought the game was boring. So I was going into Deathloop pretty green because I hadn't really played an Arcane Studio game before. And when I found out that it was them making Deathloop, to be honest, I thought it was just going to be Dishonored 3. And after playing it, I wasn't really wrong, but that's not to say it's a bad thing though, because I really did enjoy my time with the game. I thought the game was fun, just not as fun as I thought it was going to be based on the concept. But I'm getting ahead of myself. We should probably talk about the story first.
You're gonna give me that attitude? You know, I usually make it easy for you, you ungrateful prick. But this time I'll let you see yourself out.
Yup, we dated.
Oh, that's nasty.
Deathloop stars Colt. What was his full name again? Colt Vaughn? I swear I never heard this shit in the game before. Anyways, it stars Colt Vaughn, who wakes up on the beach after being killed by this mysterious lady. He starts seeing these messages telling him to break the loop and you know the code, and other cryptic stuff like that floating in the air. After taking our time meandering about and killing some folk, we walk into this house where we re-meet up with the mysterious lady again. This time, we learn her name is Juliana Blake. Then she proceeds to teleslam us through the roof of the house. Now, the mysterious voices have come back, and they're telling us to do like Big Sean did off the 5th track of his 4th studio album.
I think I'm ready to jump out the window.
Which we do, to only be caught by another Colt. He tells us where to find the code we've been looking for, but then Juliana pops out, packs him, dropping us to our death. But, surprise surprise, we're way back up on the beach. Starting to see why this game is called Deathloop now? After getting the code we've been so desperately searching for, and a superpower of our very own, we head for our apartment in Updom, thus ending what I would call the first part of the tutorial. Now after playing through that part of the game, two of the biggest strengths that I've noticed so far are the dialogue and the setting. Colt and Juliana's voice actors are great. Matter of fact, they're fantastic. Colt has a witty and joking attitude but knows how to get serious when it matters, and his VA does a great job of portraying that. Juliana's voice actor, on the other hand, does a great job of making her sound like an antagonist, but not really villainous. It doesn't really sound like she's a bad person, more so she just hates you. And the story they're setting up is something that's really strong as well. Colt not knowing who he is or what the hell he's even doing here, and is now being drip-fed information from these air subtitles in Juliana, is really cool stuff. And when the other Colt showed up and grabbed me mid-air, that's when the game really grabbed my attention. But with this small section, I can't really get into my bag, so let's continue on with the story.
Looks like somebody came by to say hi.
I'm not finished yet.
I locked the doors so the two of you can get acquainted.
What? Doors!
2 little tunnels. Brilliant design, really, and all courtesy of the captain.
Wait, shit. Fuck this. Gotta lock my tunnels? Then I'll just have to unlock them. You see us.
So after we arrive at Uptown, Juliana gives us a little pep talk.
Dorsey Square, second floor. Dorsey Square, second floor, Dorsey Square.
I asked you to do something different, Colt, and you decided to go to fucking Updom?
How do you know where I am? You got cameras on
The
or
radio
something?
tower tracks your position, and you always act so surprised, like I wouldn't know exactly where you're going.
I don't even know where I'm going.
Dorsey Square is just down the road, cliffside. Let me guess, second floor?
Sounds like you're angling for an invite.
So you can show off your little beer tap again?
Different me. This Colt's done talking to you.
By the way, everyone recognizes your stupid jacket.
I like this jacket.
By the way, these happen almost every time you enter into a new area, and they're great. Personally, I love them. So after swagging my way to Dorsey Square to get into Colt's apartment, we read through Colt's emails? Chat messages? Well, whatever the hell these are, we figure out that we need to head to the complex to get to the control center. Now, these next sections are largely the same, in which we have to head to a new area, learn something important that's in another area, then we move to that area. So, we slide to the complex, learn about the LPP, then dip to the security office in First Dead Rock. We hit the security office, found out that we were the head security and that the LPP is back at our apartment outdown. We finally get back to our apartment and Juliana's on the LPP.
Juliana!
And yeah, Juliana comes after us. But we swiftly dispose of her, head back into the tunnel to restart the loop, and try and get our hands on the LPP before she can. So after restarting the loop again, we head up to Colt's apartment. Now, with the drawn ski in hand that we got from the security office, we can finally get our hands on the LPP. And then,
This is how I'm going to break the loop. All right, 8 people, 1 day, that's
Harder than it sounds.
you.
Yup.
Oh, all right, so what's the plan?
another Colt appears, but he's different from the one that saved us earlier in the game.
NG's lab. Figure out residuum, it'll make your life easier. Or do it the hard way. Whatever. Hand-holding is over. What are you looking at? Why are you... Son of a bitch. All right. Let's get started.
Yeah, now we gotta slide to Wenji's lab for this residuum stuff. We get to the lab and, yo, Shorty got clones. And I'm not just talking about 2 or 3, there are at least 8 of them in there. But
We need to move Lonzo. That ain't no problem. Huh? That ain't no problem.
so after we put Wenji and her clones on the t-shirt, we hop in his pod so we can get this residuum, and yeah, we die again. But thankfully, we get to keep our weapons and stuff on death now. And with that being the final force death, we're done with the tutorial.
Ramblin' Frank likes to play with fireworks. Bet you I can see to it that he gets burned.
So you're probably wondering why I ran through the whole tutorial like that. Well, cause that's kinda it for the story. Not really, but if you were looking for a linear, narrative-driven experience like me, you're not gonna get that here. The game is kinda on its Breath of the Wild vibes. You can pretty much beat it as soon as you get residuum if you know what you're doing. Which isn't a bad thing, cause it's a story to be told if you're willing to find it. But the fact that you can run through the game and not really learn anything about everyone and how they ended up on the island and why each visionary is so special, I'm kinda not a big fan of. After this, the way the game tells the story is through documents that you find throughout the world, and if the story was mid or something that was inconsequential to the overall experience, I wouldn't have spent 8 minutes talking about the little that we did get, because I really did enjoy what the tutorial was setting up for. Honestly, I thought the story was going to be an adventure where we learned about the mysteries of the island while we're stuck in a time loop and why Colt and Juliana are the only ones who can remember. And I mean, we do get that, but it's through pieces of paper. Like, the fact that this is an important character to both Colt and Juliana, but the next time we hear about her is when they reveal Juliana is Colt's daughter, and the way that we find out about it is through a piece of paper.
Blake. Lila Blake. Juliana Blake. No. Come on, no. Fuck.
Like, when it first happened, I didn't realize it was important until Cole started talking. I think if they were to put more emphasis on important story moments and keep the side story stuff to the documents, I'd be fine with that. But they want to keep the fact that we've been looping since the 1960s in these documents, and when you find out, Colt doesn't even react. But that's enough harping on the story. They say gameplay is the most important part in the game, so let's talk about that instead. So, what's the gameplay like? You shoot shit. That's it. Nah, I'm just fucking with you. Could you imagine though? But the gameplay is actually pretty cool. You can carry 3 weapons around at a time, so you'll get a combination of a shotgun, handgun, SMG, or a rifle. Or you can walk around with 3 shotguns if you want to. I don't know. I can't control you. The game also gives you attachments, and not the cool Call of Duty kind, like the red beams, the green beams, the hollow tips, the switches. The kind we get are called trinkets. They offer the guns a special ability like an increase of fire rate, less recoil, you know, stuff like that. They also have cooler ones, like ones that make your enemies more weaker, or the ones that make your bullets go through multiple enemies, but nothing crazy. Unlike the character trinkets, like the name suggests, it's abilities, but for Colt. You have the standard stuff like more health, reduced damage from enemies, and better health regen, but then you also have the stuff like double jumping and not gonna lie, that's the only cool one that isn't basic. But yeah, you can carry up to 4 character trinkets and 3 gun trinkets, and all the weapons and trinkets are based off of a color grade system, with gray being the worst and gold being the best. Just like Fortnite. Battle Pass. Unlike Fortnite, purples and golds gives you extra perks on your weapons. Like there's a pistol in the game that releases toxic gas every time you fire it, and then it explodes every time you shoot it again. There's also an SMG in the game that has lifesteal on it, which is probably one of my favorite weapons to use in the game. On the topic of weapons, the shooting in the game feels very good. I played it on the PS5, so I was using the DualSense, and the pistols felt very fast and snappy, while the shotguns and rifles felt very weighted and heavy. But let's talk about the actual nuts abilities in this game. Slabs are the unique abilities that basically give Colt Mario power-ups. You have Colt's signature slab, Reprisal, which allows him to get 3 extra leases on life, which is very useful for when you forget this game has fall damage. Juliana also has a signature slab too. Hers is called Masquerade, which allows her to swap appearances with her target, letting her confuse Colt and hide in plain sight. It's pretty fun in multiplayer if you have anybody to play it with. I'm not going to talk about multiplayer because multiplayer is nothing crazy, it's just Dark Souls PvP, and if you like that kind of thing, cool, but it's not for me. You can have 2 extra slabs equipped alongside your signature slab, and all of the other visionaries have a special slab of their own, but it's not worth naming each visionary because those characters don't matter. They do have some cool abilities that let you play the game the way you want to play it though. Like the Aether slab makes you invisible, so if you a stealthier mans, you can move like that. Me personally, I'm good. One of my favorites is the Nexus slab, which lets you link a group of people together, so when you shoot one, everyone that's linked feels it. There's one slab that lets you throw people, there's another one that gives you a berserk mode, and along with that, each slab has 4 possible upgrades that you can equip onto them. So the one slab that lets you toss people in the air, you can upgrade it to now you can hold people in the air and then slam them back down to the ground. Or the berserk mode, when it ends, it sends out a big ass shockwave. It just sucks that there's 8 visionaries, so you would think there would be 8 unique slabs for us to collect and use, right? But Juliana has a slab of her own which Colt can't use because the game just says so. There's 2 visionaries in the game that just straight up don't have slabs of their own, so there's only 5 for us to use in the game, and the slabs are the funnest part. Honestly, I just wish there was more of them in the game. This would be the part where I talk about the music, graphic, and art direction, but it's all just okay. The graphics are cool, nothing crazy though. It's what you would expect from a PS5 game, and the art direction is very 1950s, 1960s, so you already know what type of time the music finna be on.
Some folks wear their hats way off to the side with their pants down low and a gun tucked inside. Take their beer by the 40 and their chicken deep fried. I think we all know who we're talking about.
So with all of our bases covered, I guess it's time to get into the end of the game. After hours of playing through this trial and error simulator, we finally get the perfect run. We get the drop on Frank, sabotaging his fireworks, causing him to... well, you'll see what happens later. So then we move on to Harriet and... So after that productive morning, it hits noon and we head up to the complex. While there, we mostly dick around, but we have to disable Igor's listening device so bro will show up to Alexis's party tonight. We need him and Wenji to show up to the party, so in a previous loop, we got a robot that can remember what happens between loops to impersonate Alexis and fake an invite to Wenji, so now she'll show up every time. With all the preparations done, it's finally afternoon, so we head up to Fishnet Rock where we can find the two lovebirds, Charlie and Fia together, and we in the final stretches now, baby. It's evening time, so now it's time to head up to Updown to get to Alexis's party, gang. So at first, I was trying to be sneaky with it, homie, but I gave up and I started airing that bitch out. Eventually, we catch Igor lacking in. And then Alexis tries to get his get back, but you already know how I get down.
Oh, fuck. Really?
And lastly, Wenji. You know what, to be honest, I don't even know what happened to her, but she just got popped. And now, with 6 visionaries down, wait, I forgot about Frank. Well, man, you already know what happened to him. Now, with 7 visionaries down, it's time to go confront Juliana. As you walk through the final area, you'll see floating messages around saying she wants to change your mind, never give up, and set us free, set us all free, and stuff like that. You enter into the room, your slab gets removed, you walk towards her, and we have our final conversation.
You know, no one will forgive you. I won't forgive you.
It's happening.
It doesn't have to. Cold. You still have a choice. Take the pistol.
It ends with us picking up these World War II pistols, aiming them at each other, and...
Are these antiques even gonna fire?
If you pull the trigger.
And if I don't?
Amazing things. Other worlds, other times.
Where we kill each other.
Sounds like fun. On 3. 1, 2, 3. You know, for a second you almost had me.
Nah, JK. But this is honestly what I thought when I first played through it. I was under the impression that this was the full cutscene. I didn't realize that I got to pick. But with my stupidity aside, yeah, this game has multiple endings. That was the first one, technically the bad ending. The next one is...
Are these antiques even gonna fire? I've come too far. Juliana. It, worked? Okay.
And honestly, I think I like the first one better, but both of these endings didn't do it for me, especially the second one since it's supposed to be the true ending. It leaves more questions than answers. At least with the first ending, we get a nice father-daughter moment with them before the credit rolls.
You can call, me, Dad, if you want.
Okay. Dad.
Okay, that's,
Too weird.
yeah, let's not,
Yep, nope.
Uh-huh.
Dad?
Stop! Please stop.
Hold on, pause on the play. So, I recorded this before the Golden Loop update got announced and released, so, yeah. I know that it extends the true ending, and, I like it. Like, it makes it feel like the true ending is the right ending, right? Like this is the ending that you should choose. I also like that the connection to Dishonored is more realized, which is cool. Like, once again, I haven't really dabbled in the Dishonored games, but you know, it's cool. I like it. But yeah, it still doesn't move the needle for me. Deathloop is an interesting game. On one hand, it's a game that had potential with a very strong opening, but in the end, it ended up fumbling it with the way it decided to tell its narrative. But on the other hand, it's a good game with fun customization and gameplay that lets you choose the way you want Colt's story to play out. Overall, I don't hate the game, it's just mid. The game is solid, but the praises it got from gaming outlets giving it 10s and it being nominated for Game of the Year when it first came out, like, it didn't live up to the expectations that everybody else set for it, to me personally. I guess this is the part where I would give it a score, but this isn't a review. Instead, you tell me what you thought about Deathloop down below, if you played it. Was it ass, was it gas, or was it somewhere in the middle? Let me know.
I don't know, you just give me a second. You've got to be better than all of us, so don't just try to shoot everything. Someone wiser than me told me recently, you already know the code.
You know, no one will forgive you. I won't forgive you.
That's it, I guess. Stay warm. Good night.
It doesn't have to. Colt, you still have a choice.
Time to break this fucking loop.